And welcome back to your comfortable, dark place on YouTube. My name is ND Graveheart, and today we'll be experiencing the great AI image generation insurgence in a brand new and original series I'm simply calling I Used AI to Do the Thing. The thing being, can AI image generators truly create imagery that mimics or otherwise exemplifies literature? Now, it should be fairly obvious that imagining a piece of writing in one's own mind, whether you're the reader, the editor, or the author, is quite unique to the individual. While drawing, painting, photographing an image, or the like is a very vastly different medium. My artist, Brianna Knopf, has done an exceptional job with putting an overall image to my writing, which you'll see on this episode. Short horror and suspense stories I have released, such as The Curse of Greywater, Of Men and Monsters, and After the Eons Are Beckoned, as well as my flash fiction stories, have had a very personal and human touch to the imagery, courtesy of her work, of course. However, does an AI image generator have the potential to perform at the same level as a true artist does? We're about to find out. Starting with the ending paragraph to my first flash fiction horror story, Autumn Linens, which you can view right here on this channel. I prompted the AI on Crayon, it's Crayon but with AI, you get it, to create the following scene. She ran towards him, enthralled by his playful trickery, both in tears and laughter. Then, when the breeze settled down and the sheet flattened, she uncovered it to see no person present, just a reflection of him through the lenses of her eyes as he waited. Now, with that in the prompt, let's see what the AI has generated for us. And at first glance, it looks like we have a handful of wispy, whimsical women. Say that 10 times in a row. That sort of makes a certain amount of sense. There's definitely a similar color palette for most of these. It's somehow interpreted my protagonist as being a ginger, which is fine. I just don't see how the writing correlated with that specific detail. They all look a bit elfish, as if they're from a fantasy novel, which is interesting. I do quite enjoy the sample to the center right. Something about her eyes matches my writing to some good extent. However, I'd like to point out this final image. It literally screams AI, and you might literally scream while looking at it. How did this happen? I get that people are all born a bit differently, but this is pretty extreme. I do like the wispiness along her headline, but otherwise I'm not sure what to say. And of course, here's what my artist created for me, and here's my favorite of the bunch. Let me know which one you prefer in the comments below, and while you're at it, drop a like on the video, would you? Okay, next up we have the final paragraph to my other flash fiction horror story titled Deer in the Headlights. And in his final, panicked moments, he reached towards his chest. Something long and made of bone had stricken through his heart. Then, in the broken glass of the windshield, he saw an eye staring back at him, one of a deer caught in his headlights. And let's see what the results are this time. And wow, just okay, sure. So there's deer people. Naturally, I think we could have all guessed at that, but some of these images, like, what the hell had happened? I like this one in the top right corner, but it clearly has nothing to do with the written text. The one at the center left reminds me of Bambi, which is sort of like a horror story within its own merits. Not sure what one of the mushroom zombies from The Last of Us is doing here either. However, I have to point out the image to the top left corner. Besides the estranged vampire deer, this one is definitely the most terrifying, but not for any good reason. It's just unnatural at best. its wrinkled neck and shoulders, its wide eyes and mouth, its semi-human features. Could have easily been a part of the new Cats film. But like, holy hell, I'm losing my grip on reality just looking at this thing. Of course, here's the artwork from my artist, which I'd like to say is much, much more provocative than anything I've been provided by the AI here. So hey there everyone, if you're enjoying this video, please consider joining me at patreon.com/ndgraveheart for more early access videos, music downloads, behind the scenes content, story downloads, and exclusives, all for $5 a month. And as an added bonus, I let my patrons decide what famous author's work gets to be featured in these videos. This month, it's a segment from Stephen King's The Shining. Alright, back to it. We have text from my short story, The Curse of Greywater, a fan favorite, in fact, that reads, "Yet, during their meal together, William couldn't help but sit in silence as his mind became cluttered with awful thoughts, such as the ice-cold touch of his father, his paling skin, and his monstrous appetite upon arrival. All of this, and the 2 circular scars that were freshly indented along his father's neck, brownish red smears from where the old man must have rubbed against his neck. I'll be completely honest with you all, I'm a tad nervous after the last handful of images to see what the AI generates for us this time, and right, there's quite an array of images here. A devil goblin to the center left, a demon directly underneath, some sort of merman to the center right. Not sure what sort of D&D character made its way onto the top center, but it's there. I guess the image that strikes the most resemblance to my writing would be the character at the top right, though that's being very generous at this point. Also, what's with the child at the bottom center? You see that smear of blood? Like, that's the most AI-generated thing I've seen today. And here's my artist rendition, which, needless to say, is leagues better than the AI. I'm starting to catch on to a pattern right now. So, finally, we've reached the point in the video where we utilize a famous author's writing. Once again, I chose Stephen King and The Shining because of course I did. It's also one of my most favorite horror films, which I'm well aware that the film really doesn't have too much to do with the book, for the most part. Anyhow, here's the segment I took from The Shining, and we're going to see if the AI can recreate King's beloved work in any meaningful way. And somehow at this point, I have some serious doubts. We sometimes need to create unreal monsters and bogeys to stand in for all the things we fear in our real lives. And what did it come up with? Well, I don't know, as usual. Some more D&D monsters, some Lovecraftian horrors. I just failed to understand what the AI's process is when creating these images. Maybe the writing that I'm using isn't specific enough. Perhaps it's too specific. It's real hard to tell. But what's easy to tell is that these 9 images are nothing close to what you think of in terms of Stephen King's work, let alone The Shining. I guess my favorite of the bunch would have to be this mer child at the bottom right. Like, instead of the old dead woman crawling out of the shower, it could be this childlike creature coming after Danny during that bathroom scene. Or I don't know. I really don't know. These all have failed the test in my book. So anyhow, once again, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this first episode of this series, it goes without saying that you should have subscribed by now. If you'd like to see your favorite author featured in the next episode, please go over to patreon.com/ndgraveheart for a better chance at me listening to your requests. Otherwise, until next time everyone, this has been ND Graveheart. So long.